Limbo on Edge. It took Darkfire and Bylon roughly 50 years to rebuild the Empire to its former glory. The damage inflicted from the Overlord took a generation of people to overcome. With Nicole, Kara, and Magnus as the only generals at first, a new tournament was held to fill the remaining slots, and a school was built to train the officers that would serve them. This school, the Limbo Empire University, LEU, could train people who had no natural affinity for magic or supernatural abilities into masters of such arts. It opened the positions of the Empire up to the common people. Meanwhile, the enlisted soldiers were trained in the manner they always had been, and provided the serum that would keep them from aging and dying. This new empire ran more smoothly than the previous, making Limbo appear safer and stable for a time. Nicole even became adept at running the realm when Darkfire was away, as he started to investigate more and more remote locations. With Bylon's control of time, mistakes were often easily rectified, and none were even the wiser. The peace of the new empire was not disrupted until a mysterious traveler appeared in Limbo. Known only by the name Edge, he sought to challenge the toughest opponents, leaving the common people alone. With the Empire's new school and growing resources, it became the primary focus of Edge's attacks. Edge decimated entire cities with a swing of his axe, tore through the resistance of any adversary, and seemed to have mastery over every conceivable art of magic and science. Residents of Limbo who had spent time in other realms had often heard of him, claiming he did this in other realms as well, seeking out the strongest to defeat. His seeming ability to wield all this power in every realm had earned him the nickname, the Realm Master. Eventually, Edge hunted down the Shakarok and challenged him to a one-on-one duel. The battle was epic, but ultimately ended in the Shakarok's defeat. Edge did not kill the Shakarok, instead opting to entice him into giving up the names of the others who had defeated the Overlord. He then used this knowledge to hunt down Darkfire, Nicole, and Bylon. Nicole brought an army with her in her battle with Edge, but was defeated by him as well. Bylon attempted to manipulate time to defeat Edge, but found himself unable to beat him in any scenario. He eventually opted to hold back, believing the answer to Edge's defeat was in the future, not the past. Darkfire faced Edge one-on-one, as the Shakarok had, and ultimately suffered the same fate. That said, he managed to impress Edge while they fought. Unlike the Shakarok, who only relied on fighting techniques and all-out combat, Darkfire used cunning, traps, tricks, illusions, and subversions against Edge. On several occasions it even appeared he may get the better of him. When Edge ultimately beat Darkfire, he said something to him no one else could hear, then opened a portal and tossed him through. Bylon and the others tried to search for Darkfire, but could not locate him anywhere. It was as if he was gone without a trace, leaving Nicole to run the Empire. Edge did not bother the Empire any further than this. He remained in Limbo, but seemed to hold back from fighting. Then, just when it seemed he may finally leave Limbo, a new traveler appeared whose presence was immediately felt by Edge. Dacheldor. Edge advanced on Dacheldor and challenged him, but Dacheldor was uninterested at first. Knowing the history of his enemy well, Edge let slip a bit of information about himself that he knew would entice Dacheldor into battle. I was the Overlord's teacher. Before he came to Limbo, I was teaching Silverstar to become so much more. He could have been a master of the realms if only he had known more patience. This prompted Dacheldor to ask why Edge was here, but Edge simply replied, You'll have to beat me to find out. The two engaged in a battle that spanned several sectors. While Dacheldor was not as crafty as Darkfire, he was more tactical than the Shakarok, and far more resilient than both. Edge immediately noticed this being he was fighting was not the same Dacheldor he had heard so much about, but a newer and possibly more powerful version. He could sense how much more strongly Dacheldor resonated with the Ancient within, and observed as this new Dacheldor regained memory of his abilities throughout the fight. At one point, Dacheldor broke away from the fight, making his way to the new castle Darkfire, in hopes of recruiting Darkfire's help. It was there that he learned of Darkfire's fate at the hands of Edge. Nicole was astounded to see her father's new form, but there was no time for explanations. Edge blasted his way into the castle, and the final half of the battle took place there. Dacheldor was unable to damage Edge at first, but slowly began mimicking the odd movements Edge made as the battle went on, and found that doing so lent itself to finding holes in Edge's attacks. Edge was so impressed by this that he freely told Dacheldor the secret to his great power. He had trained himself in every realm in the cosmos. His body, his attacks, his abilities had all been mastered in such a way that they worked in every realm and, as such, were perfected in every way. Only someone capable of also learning to master their attacks in multiple realms would have any ability to injure him, and only someone who could learn to master their attacks in all realms could stop him. The longer the battle went on, the better able to inflict damage Dacheldor became. It seemed at times as if Edge was training Dacheldor, not taking the fight seriously. Then, once Edge had seen enough, he transformed into a massive armored creature and slammed Dacheldor into the ground with enough force to keep him down. Transforming back, Edge whispered the same thing to Dacheldor that he had whispered to Darkfire. He had no allegiance to the Overlord, and had only been training him because he sought the strongest beings of all realms to train. Darkfire and Dacheldor had impressed him. He would now send Dacheldor through a portal that would take him into other realms. It would start with one that had physics closely matching this one, so Dacheldor would have the ability to overcome it and relearn his abilities without help. Then, when he had, it would teleport him to another, and another, and another, until he too was a master of his body and abilities across all realms. Only then would he be brought back to Limbo and be worthy of truly facing Edge. Edge opened a portal of the exact same type he had used on Darkfire and threw Dacheldor into it. As far as anyone else in Limbo knew, Darkfire and Dacheldor were lost, possibly never to be seen again. Edge ended his attacks and left Limbo on its own. He had found what he was looking for: 2 new students.